Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I'm Tori Haynes, and with me today is my colleague, Jose Ribeiro. Together, we'll be presenting the Community Character chapter. Next slide. Most of today's presentation is based on information that can be found in the technical report. Staff will then briefly present information regarding community guidance, design guidelines, and the GSAs. Next slide. The character of James City County is important to its citizens and to the business community, and has contributed to the county's attractiveness and growth through the years. According to the 2019 Citizens Survey, preserving the nature of the area and its quality of life remains a high priority. In the county, important elements that are related to community character include community character corridors, community character areas, special places, neighborhoods, and community appearance, and historic preservation, utility lines, and communication facilities. Next slide. CCCs are roads previously designated as Greenbelt roads, described in the 1991 comp plan as entrance corridors and roads which promoted the rural, natural, or historic character of the county. These roads were designated as CCCs in 1997, defining standards and providing guidelines for how corridor buffers are to be treated during development and how to preserve the unique character along these key corridors. CCCs have three types of designations: open agricultural, wooded, and urban suburban. Next slide. Open agricultural CCCs are located primarily in rural lands where farming and forestry activities are predominant. The viewshed and integrity of farm fields and natural open spaces should be preserved so they remain the dominant visual features. An example would be Forge Road. Wooded CCCs are characterized as having wooded areas along the road with light to moderate traffic and minimal commercial development. Existing vegetation should be preserved or supplemented to create a wooded buffer that preserves open space and wildlife habitat. The buffer should visually screen the development from the road to maintain the natural character of the county. Example is Western Monticello Avenue. Urban suburban CCCs are characterized as having high to moderate traffic, commercial uses, and some residential uses. Predominant visual character should be the built environment and natural landscape. Buffers should incorporate existing and new vegetation, berms, and other desirable design features to complement and enhance the visual quality of the corridor. An example is Richmond Road along the premium outlets. Next slide. During the 1997 comprehensive plan process, certain areas of James City County were confirmed as important places during the public participation process. Guidelines for future development were created for these areas. There are currently 5 CCAs: Toano, Norge, the Jamestown Green Springs area, Newtown, and Five Forks. Next slide. Toano still retains much of the village character that led to its designation as a CCA. Design guidelines were adopted by the Board of Supervisors in 2006, which highlight improvements and plans for the Toano area and give guidance for all future developments inside the CCA. Norge's early 20th century village character along Richmond Road has been visually impacted by automobile-oriented development. Many original buildings from the early 1900s were demolished for the widening of Richmond Road in the 1960s. The comprehensive plan provides design standards intended to guide future development and redevelopment in Norge, but formal guidelines have not been adopted in the same way as Toano. Next slide. The Jamestown Green Springs area has unique opportunities for historic and environmental preservation, as well as economic development. An update to the 2009 Shaping Our Shores Master Plan for Jamestown Beach and the Marina was approved by the Board of Supervisors earlier this year. The area designated as the Newtown CCA is mostly the same area shown on the adopted master plan for Newtown. However, some parcels located within the CCA are not part of the Newtown Master Plan or subject to the same proffers. In order to maintain a unifying look and feel, the adopted design guidelines for the new town master plan are encouraged for all proposed developments within the CCA. Next slide. Five Forks still retains elements of a village character, including 2 original buildings dating to the early 1900s. In 2004, the Board of Supervisors adopted the primary principles for Five Forks in order to preserve and build upon the many positive qualities of the area, including protecting Powhatan and Mill Creek watersheds and safeguarding the village character. Next slide. Three special places have also been identified for their contributions to the greater community: Grove, Croker, and Forge Road. Grove is a community in the southeastern portion of the county, valued for its historic, cultural, and agricultural roots. Historic sites in Grove related to Virginia's colonial past include the archaeological site of Woolstenholme and Carter's Grove Plantation. Grove eventually became the largest African-American community in the county and was commemorated with a historical highway marker in 2013. While much of Croker is now within York River State Park, the remaining area is divided among residential, farming, and woodland areas. The Croker community includes many historic resources, including Croker Landing and Riverview Plantation. Forge Road is well known for its larger pastoral parcels, used primarily for agricultural purposes. Next slide.
Continuing public input shows that many residents value the history and culture of the area, as well as the small town and friendly atmosphere the county offers. Elements of development can reflect these characteristics that help making James City County a special place for its residents. Elements such as preservation of trees and shrubs during development, large shade trees that canopy over the road and sidewalk, and reduction or elimination of light pollution to protect night sky views. Staff expect further significant changes to sections related to community appearance and development, as well as to the community character design guidelines as part of this update process. Preparation of these guidelines is part of the consultant team's scope of work for this comprehensive plan update and will be a part of moving forward the preferred future scenario. Next, please. The county has a comprehensive and extensive set of regulations to preserve vegetation. Some of the zoning ordinance requirements that help the county preserve vegetation during development include CCCs and right-of-way landscape requirements. When development occurs along a right-of-way, landscape buffers directly adjacent to the right-of-way are required to be preserved or installed. Transitional screening. When development occurs adjacent to a conflicting land use and or conflicting zoning districts. Perimeter buffers. Provision of a landscape buffer along the side and rear perimeters of parcels located in commercial or industrial districts. Phase clearing plan to minimize the size of areas of land to be cleared at once. Outstanding specimen tree designation allow developers to gain credits towards fulfilling tree planting requirements. Tree protection and criteria for removal. The ordinance establishes criteria and standards for the protection of existing trees during development. Next, please. So the county is known for its diverse wealth of nationally significant historic and archaeological resources. Currently, the county has 18 properties on the National Register of Historic Places and or the Virginia Landmarks Register. The newest addition to these registers is the Toronto Commercial Historic District. The county archaeological policy was adopted by the Board of Supervisors in 1998 and converted to an ordinance in 2018. Next, please. Additional studies that have been prepared to identify and evaluate the archaeological and historical resources in the county include toward a resource protection process, preserving our hidden heritage, and architectural survey. The Historical Commission was established by the Board of Supervisors in July 8, 1985 to document, commemorate, preserve, and promote public interest in the history and historic legacy of the county. The commission is made by members appointed by the Board of Supervisors. Typical projects include funding new historic highway markers, presenting annual historic preservation awards, and commissioning architectural or archaeological studies of important sites. Next, please. The placement of utility lines and communication facilities are also important elements that can contribute and impact the character of an area. Currently, many utilities are placed underground or are substantially screened for safety reasons around the county. In 1998, the increasing need for new wireless communication facilities prompted the county to establish a new division in the Zoning Ordinance to address them, along with the performance standards for wireless communication facilities policy. The county continues to adopt regulations for approving communication facilities to meet state and federal requirements. Next, please. Some examples of spotlight and implementation for community character. The Pocahontas Trail Corridor Study engaged the community to identify key transportation needs and define a vision for the future of the corridor. Underground utilities along Longview Road, concurrently with the Phase 1 widening project, allowing efficient use of resources and promoting community character while also stabilizing utility services for residents. Funding was also approved for similar improvements along Croker Road, which are in the process of coming to fruition. These include a road widening from 2 to 4 lanes, with a new 2-lane bridge parallel to the existing bridge over the CSX line to accommodate additional travel lanes. Next, please. The next 2 slides summarizes the public input most directly related to the community character chapter that has been reviewed so far. Excuse me. So the first slide shows the responses from the 2019 citizen survey. Through the survey and the first round of public engagement, one of the themes that most directly relates to this chapter is respondents ranked it very important or somewhat important to protect and preserve the county's rural character. Next, please. As a follow-up to the survey, the county hosted the Engage 2045 Summit on the Future to engage with citizens to determine their vision for the future of the county. 90% of respondents indicated that it was very important or somewhat important to do more to improve our efforts to protect and preserve our rural character in the county. Next, please. For this initial review, the goals, the strategies, and actions adopted as part of the Towards 2035 Leading the Way comprehensive plan have not been revised. The staff is exploring potential revisions, and members of the Planning Commission Working Group are welcome to comment on GSA revision and to provide suggestions for questions to include in the next round of public input. Next, please. This concludes our review of the Community Character Technical Report